Okay, it begins. I'm not going to wait 20 seconds before I begin, but this is more or less the introduction. I have to get to feel comfortable with you. Although I'm in my own house, with the door locked, partly that patio door is open, the air conditioning's going, most of my heaters are off by this time of the year, and I'm coming into wherever you are. You invited me into wherever you are. Within your thoughts, within what you're doing. Your entire life is now with me. So, if your entire life is with me, before I begin, I just want everybody to relax. Just relax, guys, girls. I hope your weed is good. I'm able to smoke a little bit more now, but I'm so excited with certain things that I have done. I can't even mention them, and I don't even know where to start. So we're going to start something, and I'm always going to repeat. Repeat, repeat, boom. There's an add-on. Didn't even notice? Oh, you noticed. Takes us into the future. Thought. Wow. What do I see? Is there anything here? No. I can't believe what I learned tonight. Hi, everybody. Show you that it's me. I'll look at you with my eye. I have to sign in with myself to make sure I'm still me. Acting the way I should be acting. If I'm acting at all, I shouldn't be acting. Acting can make a reaction. So what we're going to get to now is two numbers that go together. 23 and 87. If you were in the deck of cards, right, you take the 2 or the 3, and you can put it, not the 2 or the 3. The 3 goes along with the 7 card. 3 and 7 is 10. The 2 goes along with the 8 card. We can't minus anything here because we're putting to look to expand. We're starting from somewhere, and if we are going backwards, we have to go forward to get back. Because the advance of going backwards is always present to future before you can get to where you want to go, which is known as the past. But it doesn't matter what its name is, what its dictionary name is. It's only a place where you have gone because it's in the past. You have been there. It's the past. So, well, that would be your past. So what happens here is 2 and 8, 3 and 7, make a total of 10, 10, or 110 stories on the Twin Towers. Now I can switch it around and say 32 and 87. But watch out, is this a plus or is that a 6? We're not going to talk about the 6, 7, and 8 equal 21. And that's the face of 9. Every cube that we see, although the square has 9 dots on it, or we see one whole color, it takes 9 parts for that to become whole. And if you go 1.5, you could be going 1.5 towards the inside, or minus 1.5 saying I'm going towards the outside, my extension of the size of my square. Although it is on my square, the actual real part of my square is on the outside, telling me how large my square is, like that little machine, the thickness of my square. So now we're going to go on to this next part, and it says ace and deuce. And one thing about ace and deuce that's funny is that ace is 135, or actually a total of a 9 count, and deuce is 50, and deuce is 58. Or let's go and say it's AD, whichever way you want to do it. I didn't even want to get into this, okay? We're not going to get into this. But what I am going to show you is what I started. The 8 card, okay, and the 2 card, not the 3. I marked this one with the 3 because you have the 8, the 8, the 8, the 8, the 8, and the 8. You have 4 8s is 32. And then the continuous of the 8 is the 8 here and the 8 here. But when you go to the 2 card, it presents you a 2 down here and a 2 down here, making it 10, 10. When you go to the 3 card, it's now on the 7 card, so it would still be a 10, 10, but who said we can't put the 3 on top of the 8? So we put the 3 and the 8 together, making it 8 and 11. 8 and 11 is 19, okay? And you have 8 here, you have an 8 here, you have a 3 here, a 3 here, an 8 here, and a 3 here. But it's not actually that, because that 3 is actually should be a 9, but I'm expressing it with the 8 right now, but it isn't anything until up to your birth except an explanation on paper, like in school, it's on paper. Because you can't go too far. I mean, if you did it off of paper, you'd be going forever, because nothing ends. It's always the beginning and a continuation. Oh, look, we went on by, just like if they say card shark. Another thing I wanted to mention is this word, Jupiter. Reptilian, Jupiter, a reptile lion, the circular light. We're all going rounds. We're all maybe reptilians. We're all doubled up. So many faces, a little bit, the bent nose this way, 150 different kinds of noses, 100 different kinds of eyes, how you speak. Anyways, let's get on to the rest of this page, see if we can jump through it really quick. Reptilian, Torah. 2 sides to the Torah, 2 circles. Sometimes one is read more than the other. That's why it's the displacement in the sides. The same thing they do if they trade more in one tower than in the next. But the twin towers and the Torahs and the reptilians are all together. One thing I wanted to say about another thing, okay, and this is what I'm going to do. 300, okay, and now I don't know if we're going to get lost in this, but 365 days in a year. Let's multiply that by 10. That would be 3,650 days. Listen carefully, because this is very important. Important a little bit, or just a bit. 365 days in a year times one of the 10 worlds is 3650. The end of the first part of the Jewish calendar, where the Gregorian calendar slipped its way in, okay, comes at 3760. If we add the number of the twin towers, like I said, 110 floors, 23 and 87, equals to 110 plus 3650 is 3760, the exact time the Gregorian calendar started in the year 365 days. 365.25 is the actual number. 525, or how many actual, what does it take to get 5 to, forget about 360 degrees. 360 degrees is because by the time Jesus was born, that was the 360th day. He was born on the 359th day, because in the 4th year, EI, in the 4th year, it's EIEO, let's even this out and put an O for love. We're connected back together. Imagine, this is love, this is not. You get back into here, you're touching where you left off. So, okay, you always have to take one step forward to continue the last nick. So we have this over here. So in order to get the 525, we have to multiply 21 quarters. 20 quarters is 5, and 1 quarter is 525. 21 quarters, 21 times the cube has a face. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's funny the way the 7th one, the 7th day, goes from 21 to 28. The days are the markings of one moon. And from that it goes to number 8, which is 36, the creation of the angel resident. After that, you go to 45, which is 9, and that's Fox, 5 and 4. See the way they set up the 5 and 4? Whether they set up this way, or this way, no matter which way they're turned, they're both open. They both can create within one point, okay? And if you go around to the 3 on the other side, the 5, well, that's a 6, so it's on the bottom of one of them. There it is. Okay, so what we're going to get to next in this 36,525, now that we moved over, is the I for an I bit, which means the creation angel of one spirit, and you reverse it for the entry of one birth, I the I. Or I-N-I, which would say I and I. I and I is 18. It's also 1881. Thank you, Krista. I and I also means, with an N over here, it could say inning, like in a baseball game. In, I-N-G. What does it mean to be in, I-N-G? These are the extras added on when we went to school and we learned I-N-G, E-D, add an S, add E-S, and all these. There's reasons for it. far and deeper than a language is because those are our vibrations we were born with. Now we're learning to speak it instead of just sensing it. Another thing I wanted to mention, there's so many things. Here's something that's very small, I didn't even complete it yet. If I type the 365.25 days and add it to the Mayans number at 25,625, pretty funny, right? The way these two them are even. The way this one between here and here would automatically be 900. This one would be 0900. And this one would be borrowed to go to here. 0900. 9 a.m. in the morning. O and O equals 15 times 15. I have to write that out. 900. 225. 0 times 0 is 225. 9 times 225 is 2025. Oh my God. If my number is correct, 9 times 225 is 1800 and 225. 2025 is the letter T and the letter Y. It also totals 45. And also, to get to this number, it's also 45 by 45 equals this number. It's Fox and Fox, which goes back to I and I again. This is because 20 plus 45, T and Y, M, T. T and Y at the end of the 20. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 70. Anybody having T? T anyone? T anyone? Where are you from? T anyone? Somehow you have to add it all in because it all goes together somehow, and when you mix it all up in a pie, and which that means you're more than one person in the room and everybody else's brain gets it, then you can throw it up with a pie and it'll always taste good after you finish discussing it. Anyway, so I went into this and I got to 900, but when I added it to the plus side, okay, it went 62, 150. 150 is the egg, 01 and 5. It's the center of the ice. I can't, the ace card, I cannot explain it to you. I see what these are, 522s, 41. I see what they are in my head, but I just don't have the something to explain it right now. Another thing I wanted to say is that 25 times 25 equals 625. Okay? Now, from the day Jesus is born, on the 359th day, plus 25 by 25, which would be X and O, because X is the 10th letter and O is the 15th letter. I mean, one is a Roman numeral, one is an egg. They're both in two different houses. That's how they mix. Things in the same house don't change. Something like that. But I can't explain exactly. Just follow this. 25 by 25 is 625. Times 41 equals 25,625. 625 plus 359, the day Christ was born. Okay? It's December 31st going on to January 1st of the new year. 365.25 days is right here. 25,625. 41, which is your DNA. You do know that. And I have it more than one time in here. 41 is because the 14th letter is N. A is the first letter, and D is the fourth letter, and just the letter N, which says him and him, him and him. The N in between that connects is because ADN says and, it says DNA, and it says 1 and 4 are the only two numbers that create the third letter, which is the equality to N. It's the same reason for Einstein, in where the E is the fifth letter and the I is the ninth. 9 and 5 equal 14th letter is the N letters. So then you would take N letter and E and I in Einstein, duplicate the N for each vowel in between, and it will say N-I-N-E, Neinstein. What does that mean in German? I don't know. I know we're getting into 14 minutes, but I can't let this one go. There's more 25s. There's more multiplications. I cannot do the darts yet. Another thing I wanted to show, I'm going to go back and forth, so try and follow this. I did this one before. 13.5 times 2 is 27. Okay, 27 is the number of spaces on a cube of Rubik's Cube. 27 is 3 by 3 by 3. 27, 54 cards in a deck with the 2 jokers playing. 108 is the Twin Towers, plus the deck is 110. Always add 2. There's 2 extra cards you get in the deck that are reading cards or whatever. So you go 54, 108, 216. In 9 days, there are 216 hours. Boom, number 18 days later. Okay, because I said this was 9, so this would be 18 when we flip it over. And you get 432 jail. We also get 18 I&I. Another thing I wanted to mark down is 3 times 45 is 135. 135. Fox, fox, fox. The other thing I wanted to mention was that in order to get this 135, in which is the letters A, C, and E, ace, in which the 1 and the 5 play from the center position for creation, which is the 3, 13. And I'm not going to go on 13, 31, or 31, 31, 31, or 13, 31, 13, 31. There's a lot of things in here, but what we're going to do in here is we're going to cut this in half. By cutting this in half, it goes to 675. Okay, I have it down somewhere else. By cutting it in half, it goes to 675, because 675 and 675 equal 13 and a half. Now what we're going to do with this is I'm going to show you how to get to 675. 25 by 25 is 625. Plus 25 plus 25 is 50. 625 by 50 is 675. We double it up to be 135 ace. Now we got 1 ace in the hole. We make it into the ace of face. We double it into 54, 108, 216. Now we're in jail. 1 ace, 1 jail. 135 is the low. If you want to add it on as a whole, equals 567. 567. 1, 3, 5, 5, 6, 7. Okay, in which man in the middle is 6. 56 communication with the spirit, and 67 here's the spirit of man, the soul. 67, this would be equal to 335. 3 by 35 is 105, and that's the day we had that damage in Boston this year. But that's not because of just that. That's nothing. That's just a coincidence right now, because we really don't have too much more to back you unless you ask the questions, and I look for the numbers that back it up. And I won't be making up these. I'll be making up the numbers, but you have to figure out with your own self, because everything about Mr. Tackpans is how you think and how you ingest. And if you just say, okay, this is the way it is, it's over, well, then that's the way you're going to perceive everything. So we're back to this again. 25 by 25. Now, what's funny about this 25, because it took 5 times 5 to create the 25, and 5 plus 5, creating it then, creates 35. Of what I began with as 135, because when 35 is a whole, what do you have to do to get to the 35? You must say 1 times 35, because that's what it is. So you automatically say the number 1, just like your AC/DC. You said the A, it's inside C, you connect it to D, you have your 7-11. AC, 4, DC, 7, 7-11. AC/DC, 7-11. You also have 7-11, okay, as 11 is 7 and 4, but it's also 6 and 5. So since 7 and 4 on the outside are 6 and 5 with the 5, 6, 7 I just showed you, then you absolutely have to know that you're running on DC. Your communication straight out is one way, but you're living on the ground, you're hearing with your ears. So now if you want to say something, you can automatically say E and F as FG, which FG is just a slang. So anyways, where are we in here now? So you understood, we went 25 times 25 to 625, but even better than that, if you go to all the railroad stations on Monopoly, which are all 5 from the corner, or any game that has something to do with 5, 5 times 5 is 25. 25 by 25 is 625. 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 15. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125 plus the 15 equals 140, with the letter N, the passage of the Christ, the cross on your back. Don't forget, inside Rubik's Cube, okay, inside Rubik's Cube, okay, besides inside Rubik's Cube, which is the eye, and everything is indented towards that eye and turns around that eye connects to 6 centers. 6 centers on the eye. There's 4 corners on top, 4 corners on the bottom, 6, 8, and then there's the in-between, 6, 8, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. What I'm trying to talk about is Rubik's Cube, you have the piece here, you have the 2 sides. Then you have, let's say you have the 4 corners, right? Then you have the 4 corners on the bottom. Top, bottom, 4 and 4 corners is 8. You have the center when you turn it, okay? The globe in the center, the ball, holds on to 6 faces of different ones. And then, when you have the inside, top to bottom over here, and on the bottom is 8. You have 6, 8, 8. 6 times 8 equals 48, Barack Obama, times 8. 48 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64 and 6. 8 by 4 is 32 and 6. 384, and if I'm not mistaken, that is the number of days in the Hebrew leap year. Another thing I wanted to talk about, and then you have to remember, we're still on 5. I'm not switching off of 5. So now we got 5 times 5. Times 5 is 125. Times 5 is 625. 25 by 25 is 625. 625 plus the 359 days till Christ was born is 365.25 days in a year. Don't forget, it's only in the last year that you say the year is complete, and it is, because we widen. Here is the 365th day this year, right? But the next year, the 365th day is here. The next year, the 365th day is here. And the next year, the 365th day is here. But this year, you call it December 30th. And you keep going like this. And that's the end of the first year. But the year doesn't end there. We must go all the way to the 28th of February before we can end the next year of the same year. We get 2 new years in that year. 2 different cycles in that year. Because in all actuality, the extension, which should have been March 1st, we were running 1 day behind. And it was on that day that we'd make the correction. And we no longer run that 1 day behind. You have to look at it both ways, only because that's the way it is. It's separated from that point. It's got to come back to the point, regardless of my question. I'm just telling you what I see, what I think what might be what I know. So anyways, we're back to 5 and 625. But wait a second, if we're back to 625, right? And we had one at each corner, and each one was valued at 5. Why? Because the face of your telephone, all the numbers 1 to 9 equals 45. There are 9 of them, equals 5 each. 9 times 5 is 45. So now we got the 4 corners, okay, of Rubik's Cube, 5, 10, 15, 20. And then the bottom, we got 20, 20. And on this side, we got 20, 20. 5, 5, 5, and 5. Now, we got the same thing on the insides, top and bottom, 20, 20. Now, if I remember correctly, we're going to have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and the 20 on the bottom makes 40. We can use 2 faces only. 3 faces, 4. All 6 faces is 240. And then we get 240 hours in a week, in a 10-day period. At the same time, when we get 40 plus the one that turns in the center that's valued at 6, actually makes it 46, does it not? Jack, Queen, King, 10, Jack, Queen, King, or is it Jack, Queen, King, Ace that makes the 46? 10, Jack is 21. 21. See, Jack is the 11th. Jack is the 10th letter, but it's the 11th card. 10 and 11. 11 and 10, 21. The dice cubes. 1 to 6, 21. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the 5s again. So we get 40. Plus there's one center. There's one thing to move in the center. Okay? There's only one ball in the center. One single ball in the center that turns 6. Okay? 1 and 6, the letter P. That's why everything stops there, because it's the Q in the movement. You understand? The Q is the 17th letter. Anyways, I can't find it. It's over here in front of me. Q is the 17th letter. They left it out. They put it in over here as the 17th letter, but now they left out the Z. Both those numbers are on many of the debit machines. So another thing I want to speak about is that 5. So now that we have all these 5s, right, and the 1, well, why don't we do this? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 41. 41 times the inside 5. 5 times 5. Don't forget, once you're turning 1 this way, the 5 on the other side is following you. It's funny, eh? Because you're turning 4. Every time you turn Rubik's Cube, you turn 4. You don't turn 1, you turn 4. So if this world was just like Rubik's Cube, then we'd be split up into 4 different parts. And every part will be always turning 4 of each other. 4 times 4, 16. Times 4 is 64. There's always an empty space, because it needs space for room to leave one area and go into the other area. Otherwise, everybody would be touching and up each other's ass. So there might be space between all of them, and the in-between things on Rubik's Cube that we do move for color are actually void. They're just there to hold the Rubik's Cube in place, but they could be null and void. What are their colors? What are the colors when Rubik's Cube goes back together? So now you have 6 and 1, right? So this is it. You got 40, plus the 1 in the center is 41. 41 times the other 5 times 5 is 25 times 5 is 125. The Mayans once said that. They said 5 times 125, or 5.125 times 5 equals 25,625. But in this scenario, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals 625, multiplied by the inside 5s that we're going to count 5, 10, 15, 20 on top, and 20 on the bottom is 40, plus the 1 that's dead center, and it's alive when you're moving it. The one that's dead center says 41. Now we multiply 5 by 5 by 5 by 5 times the 41 equals 25,625 of what the Mayans said was going to be near the end of the world. So they already mapped it all out, because all these numbers come from Monopoly. Other numbers from the deck of cards. Some of the numbers come from the plain ordinary dice. Some of the rules and regulations come from the games they're used. Baccarat, Pai-Gow, poker, blackjack, casino roulette, TV you watch, new things you learn in commercials you watch. I'm running out of steam, and I don't want to end this video yet. So what I'm going to do is get a drink of water and take a puff of this, because I don't want to end it yet, because we're still on number 5. 5 alive. Oh yeah, I'm cleaning up the house. I'm in a better mood. I started to paint a little bit, not that much, but you know what? When you got your ears up and things are going good, or they're just going good, you just got to keep your ears on. You know, I just got to keep your ears on. Oh. Carrot juice. There's 40 carrots in here. But the thing is about that juice, or any other juice that comes into this house, or anything that I ever see. 40 carrots, 40 carat what? Gold, orange, gold, 5, 13, difference is 8, When you play the game of pool, it's orange like that. The bunny rabbit, Bugs Bunny, he loves his carrots. And you know what's crazy about Bugs Bunny, how much he loves his carrots? Is my cat. I bought her some of these treats, and when she sees these treats, it's like a war. It's a big war in the house when the treats come out. Oh my God. I almost feel the same way. Now we're going to jump on and jump around from 5 into other things. Okay, you do know 6 times 12. 5 times 12 is 60 seconds. 6 times 12 is 72 times 5 degrees turns you around the day, 1 day in motion. Okay, 72 equals 360. 361 is 19 by 19, which is the man on the moon. Anyways, what am I going to go to here? The H letter, pronounced as H or arch. Arash, which means peanuts, arashid. The H with R together can say Resh. They call it Chai, I call it Reish, because I think Reish is Chai. He is the creation heaven. We are in our own little bubble, Reish Chai. Reish Chai, reach the sky. Dos is dos. This is a misdemeanor. I have no idea what I'm saying. Anyways, when you put the R here, because R is King Angel, and that's where you get the AR from. The other thing I wanted to write down is Korea, King's Gold. Something in Korea. Look at all these letters. It's a foul ball. It's a fool's gold. E and A. What happened? I know there's something for E and A now, and this is Korea. It's very, very big. Vietnam and Korea, too strong. Vietnam says in the name of man in French. That's what it says. So if it says in the name of man, then they're hiding something there, which is the biggest thing. That's all I can see. Okay, so we went with A, we went with R. Then there's Hex 1 that comes out of it. I'm just going to name a few. What I wanted to mention is 432 jail. 1.5 times 1776 is 2664. Now, this is the 2 6 and 6 islands. This one of 2, this one of 4. That means a circuit, a closed circuit. This is a circuit that goes, picks it up halfway, and then this circuit runs all the way around, making one hole. But 6 and 6 is 12, 1 and 2 is 3. You end up with 2, 3, 4 back in jail. Now I'm going to turn it on to this side and try to, there's a lot of things. 4 times 432 is 1728, which is the Q letter, and time heaven, which is queen of heaven of time. The ruler, does that mean she's the heaven of time? Or does it actually mean the queen is here, she is the strongest on the earth because of the game of chess? The queen is here, she takes in money, she puts her face on money, they have big castles and don't really show off, but they're being shown off because of the media and the paparazzi. So how much more quiet would they be? They look like they're in the game. Nobody's really used them as in my vision, I haven't seen anybody use the monarchy as an imposition against something else in my history. Okay? If it's happened before, they needed a leg of stability in the New World standards. Okay? And they're actually taking place. Okay? Like the king is silent. I mean, the king is silent in this world too. But in the king that is silent, what it is it's, she represents the reality of creation, in which they can't be here to live the touch, to see. So she's here to make up for it. She can't really get involved in anything. She has to tweak it out and has to be silent, but she's on the side making sure that none of the other two sides really cheat that bad. And more or less, she'll never do too much, and if she does something, everybody's going to see it, and she's always going to be on top. But don't forget, I'm going to use the Ponzi scheme, like in Matchbook. she can take any one of these. And here's an island, Australia, and do what you want with it. I won't come and bother you. Although it's mine, it's yours, it's mine. It's the same thing. So there's that part. And that 17 is the same 17 missing in here, but it's down here. 1 and 7 is 8. But the Z is there, but the 26th letter is not there. 25, is it because it starts at 0 is a space? Let's not start with that. I just want to show you how the roulette begins. The baseball diamond, X and O. This is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. And another thing about 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, multiply 7 times 9 equals 63. 6 and 3 is 9. 7 times 8, 7 times 7, 7 times 6, and all the way to the bottom. It's going to show you some things that, you know, we're not looking, it's just really, really weird. Just really, really weird. Here's the, anyways, we're jumping off, we're onto this. 6 by 25 is 150. 6 plus 25 is 31, is 181. What does that mean? 1881, what happened in 9 and 9? 9 and 9? 9 and 9. ING, is it an inning? 9 and 9? There were 9 innings in the ball game and we played all 9. There were 9 innings in the ball game. We played 8.5 from the bench, but we played 9 on the field. So we must have been the home team. Probably won the game too if those are the scenarios. You got to plug in the scenarios and there you go. Pay reason with reason. Another thing I wanted to talk about is Uranus. Okay, if I remember correctly, Uranus, Saturn is 10 digits below Mercury, and Pluto and Uranus, which is 7 and 9, are also 10 apart. If I look this up, I have to look it up. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Don't go anywhere. I can't find the numbers. But it's funny the way there's 2 planets, difference of 10 of each other, in which 7 and 9 go together to create the 9 again. It's just so funny the way it works out. Another thing I wanted to show you, 18 times 24, again 9 and 9. RX Soleil. This, 18 by 24 equals 432. 8, let's do it like this. 480, take away 48. 80, take away 48 is 32, 18 by 24. And this is Reish, or it's RX Soleil, because that's exactly what these letters say. This is the day, this is the angel resident, X of the day, X of the earth. Here's your 6 by 72, in which 72 times 5 is 360 degrees around, but by 6, it's Jailhouse Rock, 432 again. 6, 7, and 2. 6 and 7 is 13, plus 2 is 15. 24 and 18 is 42. 4 and 2 is 6. 15, 1 and 5 is 6. What else is there? How many actual dots? If there were 21 dots, okay, 6 sides of a dice cube, right? You take each side of a dice cube and you put it on Rubik's Cube, all you will have is 21. So you would need 5 to have 105. You would be dead center again, 150th of the year, April 15th, if I remember. The other thing I want to mention was 1728. I did this already. Hold on a second. Don't go anywhere. There's so many little tiny things. Stay with me. Time heaven, H2O. Wow, what am I going to tell you? It's H2O. It works out right here, in which this, okay, number over here, times this number over here, equals 25,625 of the Mayan calendar, and it says H2O. This is also an angle of 3 degrees, also moving on to 45 degrees angle, or in between the angle of 0 and 45, because one is touching the other side. It holds up 2 sides. It's the in between. That's what it does. It's its job. Yeah, you can leave it alone. I'm going to come back to this again. I'm going to have to look in here, because 82 is time heaven. Okay, 820. Okay, you see what it says, 820? In French, it's 80. It's a number that's bothered me all my life, because cat is a cat. 80. Whatever the van is, can be the vineyards. And if it's vineyards, it's automatically spiders, because the spiders have vines and their legs and the whole thing of holding the grapes but it's time heaven. I'm going to see if I can get it on. Let me see. 82, 820 times 0.3125 equals. Yes, it comes out to exactly that. This comes out to 25,625. But if I take 3.125 and multiply it by 2, 3.125 multiplied by 2, or double it up, it becomes 625. So this times 2 equals 625, which is 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 equals to 625, in which times 41, which is also the Monopoly game of 40 and back to go 1, is 41, if you want to look at it that way, times the 625 equals 25,625 again by the Mayans. Is it just a number? Did they make up this number and it means nothing because I found it so many different ways and it ties into so much? Before I let up on this, it's not only that. The word that it says Ace and Abel. Abe Lincoln, Abraham, 3125. If you take a look, 1, 3, and 5 says Ace. 1, 2, and 5, 512 megabyte. 13, don't forget, there's 3, except for the R, which sometimes is Y, because he's spread over the matters, okay? The R and the I are 9 and 18, and the Y is 27. Why, yo? Why, yo? Why is the Y between the A and Z? What's happening, my friend? Listen to this. If I can find it on here, Y-O-Y, because what happens is, that's what happens, Y-O-Y turns everything from 25 to 52. Because the 25th letter after the X and before the Z is Y25, and before the A and after the Z equals to Y27 equals 52, so just turn 52 and 25 around. And then 2 times 5 is 10, 5 by 5 is 25 equals 35. The 10-10 world of that is 5775 next year. 5775 times 13 moons is 75,075 moons again. Where are we going with this? I said I'd bring something up. Oh, there's so many things. I'll just show you in case you stood with me all the way. Here's the centers that pop out of Rubik's Cube. Here's the dead center. So I said there's going to be 4 of these and 4 of these, right? But this corner here, right? This cube in the corner owns the top and the 2 sides. It owns 3 faces. This one owns 27. This one owns 27. This one owns 27. This one owns 27. You have 108. 108 times 4 is J0432, or 108 plus 1 cross and 2 cross equals 110. Stories of the Twin Towers. How come? It is what it is. I'm making it all up. Did 44 minutes, I made it all up. Imagine this, that I turn it up. Thank you very much, we're all done. And I go to hear my voice, and it's talking like a mouse. Don't you think I'd be a little bit frustrated? Don't you think I'd have to get out my carrot juice and say, oh my God, back to the drawing board? See the way it goes down? See the way it goes up? I don't even know what's in here. Okay, I think we're gonna stop it at this. There might be something that I left out. 7 up. There's some numbers and years. What happened from in the 1700s in the U.S. and all the way to 1771 and then 1776, and then they waited 13 years before George Washington in 1789, and then they had to duplicate the presidents. It was very important. I mean, they a lot of things they haven't kept, right? But they certainly identified that Grover Cleveland, we had to slip him in there one more time, and we couldn't call him. 100 years ago, we couldn't call Grover Cleveland, okay? The 22nd president, he was the 24th president. Barack Obama was the 43rd and 44th president, but they're only going to, what are you going to call them both presidents? No, because then they're going to say the wording of presidency. He's in the 43rd presidency. He's in the 57th presidency. Isn't it 57 this year? My God, 57, 75. And 7 times 5 is 35. And 12, making 47 again, which is 28. And now we're down the number lines of number 7. 7286 Raphael, 7286 in the constellation of Pegasus. Nunavut, boom. She just got included in one of my coincidences, and they're catching up to each other. Thank you for watching 47 minutes. Did you turn me off? Did you think because you could figure out the next line that you didn't have to watch me to the end? We watch all the movies to the end, and they take you down. But I try to just keep lifting you up. I mean, it's like, there's no bull in this. 3 times I try to shut my movie down, okay? I'm going to try one more time.